Chapter 9. Echo. The house of Jacob Haze was a relic of another era. Dust-coated furniture stood like forgotten sentinels, and faded wallpaper peeled at the edges, exposing the bones of a life long abandoned. The air smelled of mildew and old wood, a heavy cloak draped over the dimly lit room as Zeke stepped cautiously inside. The weight of the past was palpable, clinging to every corner of the house. Zeke's eyes fell on a cracked picture frame lying face down on a small table. He picked it up, brushing away the dust to reveal a faded photograph. It showed a man with stern eyes, Jacob Haze himself, no doubt, standing beside a machine that looked like an early prototype of the chip rack. Beside him was a woman whose features bore a striking resemblance to Zeke's own. "That your great-great-great-grandfather?" Kyris asked, leaning over his shoulder. "Looks like it," Zeke said quietly. His thumb lingered on the frame as he studied Jacob's expression. There was something in the man's eyes, determination maybe, or obsession. He placed the frame back on the table and moved further into the room, his gaze sweeping across the shelves. They were lined with books and journals, their spines warped from age and neglect. One journal lay open on a desk, its pages filled with handwritten notes. Zeke leaned in to read, squinting at the faded ink. "The chip's potential is limitless. It could change everything, if only I had the means to complete it. The family doesn't understand. They never will." The words sent a shiver down Zeke's spine. He closed the journal and turned toward the center of the room, where an old wooden desk held the centerpiece of the house's secrets, a bulky, outdated desktop computer. "So this is it?" Zeke muttered, brushing off the dust. "This is what you found?" Behind him, his father paced nervously, his boots echoing across the creaky floorboards. "I thought it'd be more useful," he stammered. "But I didn't have the tools to get it running. Maybe it still has something in it, though." "Or it's just junk," Kyris added, leaning against the doorframe with arms crossed. Zeke ignored them all. He reached into his pack, pulling out a compact power cell he'd packed back in Static City. He knelt by the desk, yanking the computer's side panel off. The inner workings were ancient, but Zeke's hands moved quickly, bypassing wires and fusing connections until the power cell clicked into place. A faint hum filled the room, followed by a flicker of light as the monitor came alive. "Not junk," Zeke said with a faint smirk. Slippy gave a low whistle. "You really know your stuff, gearhead." The screen displayed a basic boot sequence, its blocky text scrolling upward. Zeke reached into his pocket and pulled out the USB drive, holding it up for the group to see. "This," Zeke said, "might be the key to figuring all of this out." He slid the USB into the port, and the screen flashed. A notification appeared, device mounted. With a click, the directory opened, flooding the screen with folders and files. Each one was stamped with dates from decades ago. Kyris leaned closer. "What is all this?" Zeke scrolled through the list, his eyes darting across lines of text. "Schematics, logs, this is everything about the chip, how it works, what it can do. Look at this." As Zeke dove deeper into the files, the others exchanged glances. Slippy and Tay watched Zeke's father, who was muttering under his breath, barely audible but not unnoticed. "We need to sell this," the man said, pacing again. "We shouldn't turn it back on. No money in that. Selling it though, that's real money, big money." Slippy's mechanical eye whirred, zooming in on Zeke's father's face. "You hearing this, Ty?" he murmured. Tay nodded, her expression tense. "Yeah, hard not to." Zeke, oblivious to the undercurrent of tension, was too engrossed in the files. He pulled up a detailed schematic of the chip, its components lighting up on the screen in vibrant colors. The design was unlike anything he'd ever seen, a network of neural pathways and quantum processing nodes. "It's more than I thought," Zeke said, his voice filled with awe. "This chip isn't just a tool. It's alive, like almost sentient, and if I can get it back in the rack and power it up..." He trailed off, his eyes distant. "You want to talk to it, don't you?" Kyris said, her voice softer now. "Echo," Zeke replied simply. The files had given them everything they needed. Zeke sat at the desk, explaining his plan while the others gathered around. "This chip," he said, "wasn't just made to process data. It was built to evolve, to learn, almost like a living thing. Echo wasn't just inside it, she is it. And if I can get it back in the rack and power it up, I can talk to her again." Kyris, Slippy, and Tay exchanged glances. "And you're sure that's a good idea?" Kyris asked cautiously. Good idea or not, it's the only one we've got, Zeke replied. The rack is at the plant. That's where we're going. His father's voice cut through the air like a blade. You're all crazy if you think this is the right move. We could sell this. Do you even understand how much this chip is worth? We wouldn't have to worry about money ever again. Zeke stood up, his expression hardening. And what? Let someone else use it? Let someone else profit off of it while people like us stay stuck in this broken world? This isn't about the world, Zeke, his father snapped. This is about survival. Our survival. You think that chip is gonna save you? It's gonna get you killed. Zeke turned, his voice cold. You're not coming with us? His father froze. What? You heard me. You can stay here with your precious dating chatbot. Zeke said, gesturing to the room. But we're going to the plant. We're going to fix this. Fix it? His father let out a bitter laugh. You're going to unleash a mass catastrophe. Don't you see that? Echo, this chip, whatever you think it is, it's dangerous. You're going to regret this. Zeke didn't answer. He grabbed the USB drive and nodded toward the others. Slippy grinned, hoisting his pack. About time. Iron Steed's warmed up and ready to roll. Kyris grabbed her jacket, giving Zeke's father one last glance before following the others out the door. You can't do this, his father shouted after them. Don't go. She'll cause a mass catastrophe. Zeke climbed into the Iron Steed without looking back. As the vehicle roared down the cracked and barren road, he muttered under his breath, and we're not already living in one. The Iron Steed disappeared into the horizon, leaving Jacob Haze's house and its ghosts behind.